If you've never seen a standardbred race including North America's best 3-year-old pacers, trainers, and drivers, this will be one for the record books. Louprint is highly favored, however, any one of the entries has potential for an explosive performance. The $656,000 Meadowlands Pace on July 12th will be an extraordinary shootout of talent. Here is a clip of Louprint winning the recent $1 million North American Cup with Madden Oaks challenging him for a photo finish.
Here they come for Cup 42.
We were recently notified by Standardbred Canada that North America's best 3-year-old pacer, Louprint, who is favored in this Saturday's $656,000 Grade 1 Meadowlands Pace, just scratched from the race. We are broadcasting our formally produced Meadowlands Pace Pre-Race show and wishing Louprint and all his connections a safe and speedy recovery.
Madden Oaks leads. Wren pushes the pedal now with Louprint. Down to the floor he goes, and Louprint sweeping up on the outside to take over the lead. He gets him down to the half in 53-1. Louprint now leads. Louprint with a half-length lead to 3/4 in 1:19-1. That's the fastest 3/4 in the history of the Cup, and Louprint turns for home. He's got a lead of 2. Madden Oaks trying to rally up the inside. Dandy Ideal, Captain Optimistic, better in the straightaway. He starts to close. Madden Oaks up the inside, and Louprint trying to fend him off. A couple of Cup rookies battling it out right down to the wire. Inside is Madden Oaks. Louprint comes back to win it. It's Louprint over Madden Oaks and Fast Choice. He won 47-1. Stakes and track record.
What a dream come true to get the job done. You know, he's a special horse. I didn't give him a great trip, but you know, he's a terrific horse. Like, he raced really well.
You know, he's a great horse. He's, flawless gaited. He's just, he's actually an improvement, I think, on his sire, which I didn't think I would ever say. He just digs. He knows how to win. If you look at his career, if he's in the front, he's very hard to get around.
I want to welcome John Campbell to the show. He's a distinguished Hall of Fame harness driver. Historically, the most Meadowlands Pace wins by any driver, 7. Interesting, Tim Tetrick, who has 6 next in line, is in this coming Meadowlands Pace, teamed up with Tony Alagna, who's trained Fallout and has a good shot at, or a decent shot at winning. Combination of trainer and driver trained Captain Treacherous, who won in 2013 the Meadowlands Pace. You historically have the most number of harness wins of any driver and considered the GOAT of the standardbred racing drivers. There's a lot of talent this year. How do you see this race shaping up?
Well, it's going to be a very interesting race, especially when they didn't have eliminations. So all these horses are coming really right from the North America Cup and all thrown in together. And it's a full field of 10 horses. So I think there's going to be a lot of action. There's no question Louprint is going to be the favorite, and deservedly so. He did win the North America Cup. He was very impressive. But he only won by about a head. And, so I don't think anybody's going to be intimidated by Louprint, although I do believe going into the race, he's the best horse and deserves to be the favorite.
Also, Louprint has received the 8th starting position, which is far to the outside. Some people think that might be a disadvantage. How do you view that?
I don't get too carried away, especially when you're talking about horses of the caliber of Louprint. I always said it was just a starting point, and Ronnie Wren is an exceptional driver. I think he's going to figure out the kind of a trip that he wants. And the one thing about Louprint, he will race well in front. He'll race from behind. He's very versatile. He's a horse that's very manageable. So Ronnie has options with him. So I don't think the 8 post will be that big of a deterrent to him.
How about the same question for Madden Oaks, who got the 10th position, the furthest to the outside, and that horse was a close second in the North American Cup.
He was, and he raced extremely well. Braxton Broyd, an up-and-coming young driver from the Midwest, drove an exceptional race, had the 10-hole, and just kind of took a look and made a decision to go for the lead, and then Louprint came along and covered him up, and he got a really good trip. I thought he was going to win mid-stretch in the North America Cup, but he just come up ahead short. But he kind of surprised everybody in the North America Cup. The element of surprise is gone for him now. I think people realize how good he is. And, drawing the 10 two times in a row for big races like that is really bad luck and unfortunate for them.
Captain Optimistic, Nancy Takter's won before with Dextor Dunn as a driver. And then we've got Dr. Moore has Prince Hal Hanover, who I think is kind of a sleeper here. People he's falling under the radar, but I think he's got a lot of potential too. So those 5 horses we sort of mentioned seem to have drawn the most attention for now. But as you know better than anyone, it could be anyone's race. Captain
Optimistic, he's been around the money all throughout his career. He's going to be a horse that's going to be in these top races all through the year. He's going to win some of them. There's no question about that. So he's certainly capable of that. He's a horse that I think the trip does make a bit of a difference to, but if he gets the right trip or he's covered up to the head of the stretch, I think he's got a really good chance. Prince Hal Hanover is going to be a little bit under the radar. I think you can really just kind of eliminate his last race. He just didn't have a good post, and then the race didn't break well from him for the gate. But before that, he came charging home in the elimination from the North America Cup. So I think he's a horse that's going to go off at odds that are a little higher than what they should be, I think. And he's certainly capable of winning that race. For a long shot, the horse in the rail, Poppy's Pistol, has always had ability. He hasn't been able to break through and win the big one. He did win a big race at the end of his 2-year-old year, but I think he's going in really good form, and I look for him to race really well. That David Miller's driving him for the first time, and I think if things fall his way, he's a horse that could at least hit the board.
And he just won that prep race the same last weekend, Saturday at the Meadowlands.
Yes, and he looked very good. He got a really good trip. He didn't get used hard. Actually, a really good prep for a race like this, for not only winning in his confidence, but not being used hard. He's going to be in a good frame of mind and going in good order, I believe.
I'm always amazed, and I pay particular attention to the breeding, and it's amazing how Captain Treacherous he's in 3 out of the 10 horses in the bloodlines there.
He's been an exceptional sire, obviously one of the greatest horses, 3-year-old pacers of all time for sure. But he's been able to pass that on, colts and fillies, and made a major impact on our breed since he went to stand as a stallion.
I'm honored to be talking to Billy O'Donnell. We've got the Meadowlands Pace coming up, and he won it in 1985. And certainly his credentials are extraordinary. Many experts think he's in the top 10 of all standardbred drivers. And I imagine most of your wins were in pacing, but I don't know the entire history. You're in 4 Sports Hall of Fames. You have 6 individual pacing Triple Crown wins, the Messenger Stakes, Little Brown Jug, and Cane Pace. So there couldn't be a better guy to ask an opinion of. How do you see this race shaping up and coming back? And I'll give you a little bit of a lead that the 2 horses that appear to be in the lead right now is Louprint and Madden Oaks, who raced up in Canada at that Pepsi American Cup. Quite a finish, and it would be anticipated it'll be a similar finish for this coming race. Give me your comments about how you see this shaping up.
Well, I think Louprint, I've said this all year, I think he's in a league by himself, I believe, even though he just won by a short head up here in the North American Cup. He got used awfully hard to get to the front and went the 3rd quarter very fast, 26 seconds. He still hung on and showed tremendous heart to do that. And the horse that was 3rd there, it was Jared Baker's horse. He was flying at the end. There's 4 or 5 of them there. Dr. Moore's got a couple in there they could all be contenders. Depends how the race goes, right? But Louprint, he qualified this morning at the Meadowlands. I see he finished 2nd in the qualifier. I think it'd be a pretty interesting race, to be honest with you. Other than him, it's pretty wide open. But when you got one like him in there, it changes the whole complex of the race. Like with the horse leaving from the outside there with last week there, he was 100-1. It changed not the outcome maybe, but just the overall race itself. So it'd be interesting to see.
Didn't you win the Meadowlands Pace by 7 1/4 lengths when you raced?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you had a super horse, Annihilator, but you know.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I believe this is going to be like a military march to the finish line there.
I think so. I think you're right.
That probably is one of the most important accomplishments or memories for your life, doing behind Annihilator, and Billy Houghton giving you that honor to race his prominent horse that he could have been the driver.
Yeah, absolutely. He was. He never got beat with me. He won 8 in a row with him.
So you developed that nickname, the reputation, the Magic Man, because you seem to get a little bit more out of horses than the average driver. I'm not going to ask you for any deep inside secrets. Is it a matter of circumstance or your desire to just push a horse, or did you feel you had a better rapport with the horses you drove, or what was it?
I think that's probably what it was. I always wanted to keep a horse quiet and relaxed all the time. Where, back on the half-mile track days, you wanted them all churned up to go right off the bat, like a quarter horse, basically, right? So when I started racing, even on the half-mile track, I could always get more out of a horse when he was relaxed than I could when he was all churned up.
I'm here with Dr. Ian Moore. He's got 2 horses coming up in the Meadowlands Pace, which is the largest pacing competition in the Meadowlands for each year. Interesting, because there's only 10 horses in the race, and there's 3 trainers that each have 2 horses. You're one of them. Tony Alagna is another one, and I'm blanking on the next one. I'm sure you know who. Oh, Ron Burke. Those are the 3 that appear to have 2 horses in there. So you guys tie up 60% of the horses in the race between you. Just tell me a little bit about why you think your horse has a good shot. You're with Prince Hal Hanover. You also have another one, and that horse is Joel and the Jets. Why do you think I have a chance with either one of these horses to win this prestigious race?
Prince Hal Hanover has been a real nice horse pretty well from the get-go. As a 2-year-old last year, training down, he was just an average guy. And about the time we started qualifying, things changed for him, and he became a pretty nice 2-year-old last year as well. This year, training back as a 3-year-old, he grew taller, bigger, and stronger. And he always had the desire to race and to beat horses, and that's even got stronger in him as well now. So I've been pretty high on him all along.
I know you're a distinguished veterinarian besides getting into the training of horses, and you've sort of developed your own niche to have an eye or selection with a bunch of your friends for picking out yearlings with potential. One of which was the dam. This Percy Blue Chip was a dam of Prince Hal Hanover. So bred to Captain Treacherous, which is amazing breeding.
I looked at her at the sale here in London, and she was beautiful. So I think we bought her for about 100 or 105 Canadian. I can't remember now what it was at the time. And she wore flip-flops most of her career because of the way her pasterns are. But did very well for us. She made almost 600,000 for us here before we sold her to Ron Burke's stable. And she went on to make over $1 million, including the Breeders' Crown, as you had mentioned, as a 3-year-old for the Burkes. She set a Canadian record in her first start in a 5/8 mile track at Georgian Downs up here, and that record still stands today.
Another accomplishment is you trained Shadow Play. I guess that horse trained down to 147, raced down to 147.4, made over $1.5 million and won a number of big races. And from there, he was a sire of a horse, Bulldog Hanover, who probably set the track record that still stands for the fastest time ever, 145.4, and won a ton of money. So you obviously have an eye for a horse. You have an eye for the breeding lines, which is important. As we're wishing you the best, I know you feel you have a good shot. You might be the sleeper here in this race, because there's a couple of higher profile horses right now, but your horse certainly is solid and belongs in that milieu.
I do think he's right up there, the top 3 or 4 3-year-olds in North America this year. And
we're here with Cameron Capone, and he's an up-and-coming trainer. He's doing great. He came in the big second with Madden Oaks in the latest race, the Pepsi North American Cup. He's got a shot at the Meadowlands Pace coming up next weekend, with also a very young driver, Braxton Boyd. Tell me what you're looking forward to and why you think you got a shot in this big race.
He's getting better and better every start. Nothing really takes anything out of him, and he's really just kind of turning the bend at the right time. So I'm really excited to see where it goes, and it should be a good experience, I believe.
I think it's going to be like a military march at the final wire there.
It could be like 5 or 6 across for sure, yeah. It's a good group of horses. I mean, even you got Fallout, who didn't make the the Cup final, but I mean that's a really nice horse. And then you got Captain Optimistic, who's a nice horse, and then you got Louprint, who's the best horse arguably in the country. So
I'm here with up-and-coming superstar Braxton Boyd. He's on the horses, considered probably to have the second best chance of winning the Hamiltonian, the Meadowlands Pace coming up here next weekend. But in a horse race, it's anyone's race. He just missed beating out the lead horse at the last running of the North American Cup, the Pepsi North American Cup. That was some amazing race with basically 3 finishers coming very close. I think this is going to end up being like a military march to the finish wire. What do you think?
We drew the 10 hole again, so that was very disappointing. But, we worked it out last time. It's going to be a little bit tougher here at this racetrack, but hopefully we can get it worked out. And I have the horse that can get it done, so we're just going to have to find a way to get it done.
Where is Louprint sitting as far as?
I think he got the 8. Both of us kind of drew bad. There's plenty of other horses in there that are very capable and are very, very capable horses that could win the race. It's just gonna just matter who gets the trip. When you're in a race against the best horses in the country, there's a reason they're in the race.
I'm here at the Meadowlands with Nancy Takter. She's got an unbelievable record. In 2020 was the trainer of the year. She's got a great horse in the Meadowlands Pace that's coming up named Captain Optimistic. What's amazing about that breeding is you're going up against Tony Alagna, who is a trainer of Captain Treacherous, and Tim Pittrick is going to be the same guy driving.
Yeah, I won it in 2020 with Tall Dark Stranger.
What's your assessment? You're the pro.
I think it's actually, I see it as probably a 2 or 3 horse race. I think my horse, Louprint, Fallout's a nice horse. Madden Oaks has raced really well in the North America Cup. Unfortunately, he did draw the 10 hole again, which he did also have in the North America Cup. So, that's going to be tough for him to kind of have 2 races like that from a bad post. But this time, my horses drew inside of them or inside of Louprint, and I think it's going to set up for a better race than what we did get in the North America Cup.
I'm here at the Meadowlands with Dextor Dunn, one of the best drivers in the world. Top purse earner, top winner, and he's teamed up with Nancy Takter, who has Captain Optimistic. She won in 2020 with Tall Dark Stranger, and I don't think this one you've won. You won just about everything else you could win, so I'm sure this is special for you and you want to do it. Tell me a little bit of what you anticipate, how it's going to turn out.
Well, it's the Meadowlands Pace. I've been involved in a few races, really close second with Better's Wish. I believe it was in 2019, but it's it's always a great race. Good draw, 5, really happy with that. So, we're trying to find the right helmet and see how he does. Louprint's been unbelievable too, and this year, so he's clearly the top choice in the race. No doubt about that. It was an unbelievable run by him in the North American Cup. So, we have to deal with him. And then there's, like you said, there's a few others in there that have, really putting in strong miles at the moment.